Hi guys, Bex from Trista here, and I'm obviously at the ginormous Gundam Unicorn in Odaiba, Tokyo. It's incredible. It's 20 meters tall, it's the size of a building. It's a 1-to-1 scale version of the Gundam Unicorn, and it's incredible. If it helps slightly, then small, far away, small, far away. You might be able to see some little people down here in the background to give you an idea just of how crazy big and awesome this thing is. Out in Japan, robots are big business, quite literally in this case. This life-size replica Gundam stands proudly outside the shopping centre here in Odaiba, Tokyo, where it's a tourist attraction and meeting spot for locals and visitors. And even if you've got no idea what a Gundam is and you aren't particularly into anime, it's still an amazing sight to see. Where else are you going to get the chance to take a few selfies with a giant robot? But what is Gundam? Or to give it its full title, Mobile Suit Gundam. Gundam is a hard sci-fi space opera focusing on the characters as much as it is the mecha. It was created at Sunrise Studios, first broadcast in 1979. Looking at these clips of the original intro, it looks like any giant robot series. However, there are a few things which really made Gundam stand out and become the hugely influential series it still is today. The main one being its realistic portrayal of war and conflict. Whereas many pieces of media at the time, robots were purely forces of good or presented as awesome pieces of mecha, which is the Japanese load word for mechanical, they generally came under the super robot series. Gundam, however, has been credited as the one that started the real robot series, where things are treated in a much more realistic manner. Gundam are weapons, they are the tanks of the world they inhabit. They're literally war machines used by the military for combat purposes. Throughout Gundam's history and its many stories set in many alternate universes, yep, like Marvel and DC, Gundam's got its own huge multiverse of timelines going on. The idea of showing how conflict and war affect people and society has been a strong driving force for the narratives. And however many series of Gundam you think there are, there's more. These aren't even all the title screens flying past right now. Seriously, at the moment I think there's over 38 series and straight-to-video OVAs of Gundam, plus there's over 25 movies easily if you include all of the compilation movies from the TV series, straight-to-video movies, the 13 theatrical releases, and the 3 planned for the 40th anniversary. Just when you thought that was all of them, they go meta on you and create Gundam Builders about a group of kids who build Gundam toy kits. Yes, that's a thing. And that's not including all of the manga adaptations, the over 80 video games, some of them with their own unique stories and characters that are not featured in any other series, and everything else that goes along with such a successful franchise, including a vast amount of model kits called Gunpla, but we'll get onto those in more detail later. So with a rich history spanning over 40 years of media, it's easy to see why a giant 20-metre tall statue of Gundam might exist, and we haven't even gotten to the best bits yet. And if this wasn't cool enough, it isn't even the first Gundam to have been erected in Odaiba. We had, from 2009 to 2017, the original Gundam RX from the 1979 series, and man am I gutted I missed that. It was beautiful, it was 18 metres tall, it was animated, the head moved, smoke came out, lights played. About 4 million people came to see the original Gundam within the first 2 months of it being erected in Odaiba, so I think that gives you a slight idea of how popular it is. The opening ceremony for the Gundam Unicorn looks absolutely incredible. They had live music from the bands who were involved with the show, they had guest stars, they had voice actors, and I've managed to grab some clips from the news so you can see just how much of a fanfare that this got, and it deserves all of it, to be honest. It is absolutely beautiful. Wikipedia would describe Gundam as large bipedal humanoid vehicles controlled from a cockpit by a human pilot. I'd describe them as frickin' cool. The Gundam series have evolved and changed over the years, and not just the mecha involved. The Gundam plotlines often have mirrors between the different series. A theme they often go back to is the idea of a young pilot, usually estranged from his father, who is forced into war. This is a theme that viewers of later realistic mecha anime such as Evangelion may be familiar with as becoming quite a strong trope. Long before Game of Thrones, Gundam was also a series where any character could die if that was the best thing for the plot. Your favourite character may not be safe when watching these series, so do bear that in mind. Whereas some of the original Gundams are very much the weapons of war, the Unicorn is very much a symbol of hope. The storyline is far more based around obtaining peace and understanding differences than it is about defeating the enemy, and with the pale colour scheme and striking unicorn-based design, it's more angelic when it's in its standard mode. Of course, it can also, with the piloting of a new type with special psychic powers, go into destroy mode where it lights up red and looks incredibly cool. I personally love the minimalistic colour scheme and light-up accents that they have on the Gundam Unicorn. Every detail is absolutely beautiful. It is 20 metres tall, perfection one-to-one scale Gundam. The incredible level of detail they've gone to on all of the parts, moving or otherwise, making sure every piece of text and decal, I guess, as it would be on a model kit is here. It's just stunning, and no matter how close you get up to it, I wish I could have just actually crawled into the thing and flown it off into the distance, it doesn't stop being amazing. At night it's lit up and it looks even more incredible as well. I quite clearly fell in love with it and was joking, not joking, about stealing it and or marrying the thing on social media for some time. Nothing unhealthy or odd there. And this is from someone who isn't even a huge Gundam fan. I've seen it twice now, and I could easily come back and spend yet more time looking at this absolutely awesome beast. It also lights up and moves. There is a show once every 2 hours. I have to say though, the daytime show is okay, but very, very short. The show in the evening is phenomenal. The first time I came along, that was the one I saw, and I just happened to turn up just as the show was starting, and it was utterly incredible. So I recommend, if you can only see it at one point, definitely come and see it in the evening. It's ridiculously atmospheric and phenomenal, and they project like scenes from the anime and a light show, and the show's just way, way longer, so definitely come check it out in the evening. It took me a little while to find it, despite it being huge and me being able to see it from the train, so that was quite an awesome mission, and it's definitely worth it. And I have to say, I prefer the unicorn design. Sorry to all the Gundam purists out there, but the Gundam Unicorn is just super, super cool, and I want to steal it, sell my house and everything else I own, and then just live in the Gundam, which I think is completely plausible, because if anyone argues with me, I'll just shoot them with laser cannons from my Gundam. The Gundam Unicorn, of course, marks the location of the Gundam base, where you can see exhibits of every single Gundam model ever created, and the site of the first ever Gundam Cafe as well, which is pretty darn cool. Right now I have seen the Gundam again, and I will be seeing it more times on my trip here, I can guarantee you. Let's go and find the Gundam base. Is it this way? Maybe this way. They really shouldn't be this hard to find. If I don't get too distracted with this Hello Kitty shop I didn't even know was here. They even have a cafe. It's so cute. I can't eat any of this food anyway. I'm allergic to everything. I've already done a Hello Kitty video. Right. Here. We're here for Gundam. We're here for Gundam. Let's keep moving. Right. This looks like the place. It's absolutely beautiful. This is probably the coolest shop I've ever seen in my life. A visit to the Gundam Unicorn wouldn't be complete without having a look around the Gundam base. Entering the shop, you can see immediately it serves equally the function of being an incredible shop, socialising space and a museum. You can look at every single model ever created, which I believe is over 2,000 variations at this point, including all the different sizes and scales and qualities, which we'll get into in a bit. I keep saying that. And you can go to the place just to see them all as a museum, but you can also buy most of them as well. It's easy to understand why people get into these as a hobby and fill their entire house with them. Trust me, I've met several people who've done exactly that. As well as being able to look at and buy a lot of these models, there are spaces for people to meet up and make their kits socially here. There's also an area dedicated to explaining about the factory that makes the Gunpla kit, showing you the different grades of plastic, the layout of the factory, and all other kinds of information as well. Gunpla make up almost 90% of the Japanese character-based model kit market, so basically if you're into model kits, it's highly likely you're a Gunpla collector. It's difficult to find any exact figures, but I did find one report that in 2015 there were 7 injection moulding machines running 24/7, producing up to 24 million kits a year. Not all of these would have been purely Gunpla kits, and some of them would have been character kits and so forth, but I think that gives an idea of exactly how large this hobby is. Gundam is one of the top highest grossing media franchises of all time. It's estimated at over $20 billion, I believe, in total revenue over the 40 years, and I don't see any signs of it slowing down. The Gunpla kits, which is a loan word combining Gundam and plastic, come in different grades and different prices, allowing anybody to be able to get into the hobby. You'll notice that kits come in different sizes, and there are often multiple versions of the same Gundam. Some of these will be variations between different series and upgrades that have happened within them. However, there are also 5 existing Gunpla kit grades that you can buy. These are high grade, master grade, perfect grade, real grade, and the super deformed grade, which are small cute versions of them. Each different grade comes with different prices, they're slightly different scales, and they often have different levels of articulation or detail to the moulding as well. Gundam was never aired over here in the UK. If some of the Gundam look familiar, however, it is worth noting that during the Transformers craze here in the UK, sometimes Gundam kits and Gundam figures were imported over in order to fulfill orders when they'd run out of Transformers, assuming parents wouldn't notice the difference. So you may well have had a Gundam in your collection at one point if you were a kid in the 80s. The Gundam all have very technical sounding names, being military creations such as the NT1, the RX-78-2, and the WTF. I may have made that last one up. So where does the name Gundam come from? The original concept was to call the series Freedom Fighter Gunboy, and the mecha were going to be called Freedom Wings. They toyed with the idea of calling it a Gundam, combining the word for freedom and the word for gun. However, this was later changed by Tomima, the main animator and creator of the series, to Gundam, wanting to evoke the idea that these robots were the dam that held away floods of enemies and protected the citizens. Gundam basically exists at this point in a multiverse, the original timeline, which is still popular and still going today. In fact, the Gundam Unicorn is part of it. It's called the Universal Century, but there's actually about 9 other timelines existing, some of which only have one TV series or movie within them, telling just a different alternative world perspective or exploring a different idea. Other ones are starting to build some speed and might have multiple series in them. So it's pretty much as complicated as American comic books. If you want to dive deeper into which are the best Gundam series, which is the best timeline to be watching, and whether or not you should be watching Gundam Unicorn or Gundam Wing, there are many forums on the internet with people shouting equally that their favourite series is the best one. You might have gathered I didn't steal the 1:1 scale Gundam Unicorn, but maybe you're wondering if I picked up one of the Gundam Unicorn Gunpla kits. So no, is the short answer to that. However, I did pick up a lovely Gundam Unicorn statue badge, which I'm going to turn into a fridge magnet, and they gave me a free sticker too, because they're awesome. Thank you for joining me. You guys are absolutely amazing. Names of nice Patreons will be floating up the side over the wonderful Gundam right now. So thank you guys, you are incredible and you help make these videos possible. And thank you of course to anyone who sent me a PayPal tip via the Ko-fi link as well. You guys rock. So if you like the video, the standard liking, commenting, subscribing, bell smashing. I'm not good with all of this newfangled technology, but you know what to do. Thank you again for joining me, and more videos from Tokyo are appearing on my YouTube channel, so watch this space. Alright guys, take care. Bye!